Let's talk about mental health awareness. You know, Sushant Singh Rajput's biggest hit. I know a lot of you probably think that this isn't a topic that hasn't been spoken about. Because, we all have that one friend on Instagram who's constantly preaching about self love. But we're not talking about that. Because we know you. We know our audience always wants something new to get mad about. So, today, we're going to be talking about mental health infrastructure in India. Because I'm pretty sure it's worse than you think it is. According to the National Crime Records Bureau, the entire mental health workforce of India, which includes psychiatric practitioners, psychologists, psychiatric social workers, nurses, etc., stands at 7,000. When according to WHO's recommendations, it should be at least around 55,000. So it's not surprising that our treatment gap, which is the number of people that have mental disorders but aren't receiving any real kind of treatment, is at a resounding 83%. How did we get here? Well, that question has three answers: academic negligence, governmental ignorance, and corporate greed. Let's break them down. The issues with the mental health care system in India start at the very foundation of mental health itself: medical colleges. Unlike most countries, undergraduate medical courses in India hardly focus on psychiatry at all, leaving students with genuine interest in those subjects no option but to emigrate to other countries like the US or the UK. Both of those countries have a majority of Indian practitioners, Indian psychiatric practitioners. And those students that do stay here find that there are insufficient colleges, even less seats, and basically no governmental support for those courses. Come on, guys, we cannot be doing this all over again. Remember when Sundar Pichai became the CEO of Google and everyone over here was talking about how we couldn't employ such a brilliant mind over here? Or when we did that about Satya Nadella, or when we did that about Priyanka Chopra? Oh, sorry, I meant Indra Nooyi. Due to the low turnout of psychiatric students from Indian medical colleges, immediately the prices of private practicing go through the roof, which is unaffordable for most of the people in India. And it's not like this situation is ideal for psychiatrists either. We wanted to sit down and interview either a psychologist or a psychiatrist for this episode. We wanted to ask them about the industry, the infrastructure, but they didn't have the time to do that. And that's not only because they're extremely overworked, but it's also because their job takes an unimaginable amount of emotional toll on them. Academia isn't the only field responsible though. By not incentivizing mental health education, they then give the government a free pass to not incentivize mental health awareness. The two policies behind which the government rallies mental health are the DMHP and the NMHP, District Mental Health Program and National Mental Health Program. But both of them have been heavily criticized for having undertrained doctors and insufficient funds. Due to the lack of doctors passing out from psychiatric fields in India, the government was forced to provide 3-month crash courses to non-mental doctors so that they could diagnose patients with mental disorders. Excuse me? 3 months of learning should not qualify someone for the same authority as years of studying. That's like, imagine how terrible it'd be if the responsibility of governance was given to a kid who read about communism over a Wikipedia article. Actually, that sounds pretty okay. Fuck it, I say go for it, man. But the communities that are worst affected by governmental ignorance are those of low class and caste, for which the DMHP was created. But the DMHP is so bad that some studies say that often in hospitals there are no signs directing patients to their psych wards. And many a times, people requesting for assistance are given misleading directions. all to avoid the efforts of providing treatment. Now, they actually shouldn't be underfunded in the first place because the NMHP has received an allocation of 90 crore rupees over the past 2 years. But the issue is that they've only spent 10 crores out of those. To which I must ask, why are you being so stingy about this? Investment in accessible mental health care for all is going to have obvious returns. It's not only going to help build a healthy community, it's also going to lead to the welfare of society and the economy. You actually might end up saving some lives. And now I know I'm generally really critical of the BJP, but I think this time we have to go easy on them. I'm going to be nice to them. Because hey, I get it. I know governing fairly and saving lives, it's new to you. But we're there for you. We're here for you. Okay? We're gonna get through this together. Okay? Don't worry. Of course though, corruption is not surprising. What's surprising is the extent and motivation. Which brings us to our third and final point. Corporate greed. Corporate greed, of course, is an old friend of ours, and we're glad to have him back. You may be wondering why the administration doesn't push for easier access to therapy and psychiatric help. It's because of pharma companies. Indian pharmaceutical companies have been producing a lot of antidepressants and sedatives, which then leads to the government not being able to allocate any funds or workforce to the psychiatric departments so that they can implement therapy. And that's terrifying. Studies show that therapists prescribe antidepressants and sedatives when they're not required or could be avoided at a rate of 40%. For example, losing sleep is a common symptom of many common mental disorders. However, before you prescribe any sedative for that, you have to take extreme care, particularly benzodiazepines. However, due to the lack of regulation and no strict enforcement of existing laws, very harmful and dangerous antidepressants and sedatives are sold over the counter, which has led to a spike in the number of drug addiction and substance abuse cases, especially in teenagers and senior citizens. The problem is that the government consistently responds to calls of making mental health care more affordable by putting restrictions on the prices of medications, which then forces all of these Indian pharmaceutical companies to compromise on the quality of their medicines. According to a report by the CDC, thousands of fixed drug combinations or FDCs have proven to be more harmful to the patient than beneficial. People aren't even aware of the addictive and often dangerous side effects of the antidepressants and sedatives that they're prescribed to, because psychiatrists are forced not to tell them, which then leads to reports of parents giving sedatives to their child because the child is unable to sleep. That's like giving someone a late night show on TV just because they have like million subscribers on YouTube. That's never gonna happen, right? That's just lame. So where does this leave us? We have to realize that Indian pharmaceutical companies and government officials are benefiting off of the social stigma around mental health. But we also need to understand that they're benefiting off of our Instagram stories telling our followers that we can help them. We cannot cure each other's mental disorders. There is no alternative to medical treatment. According to a report by WHO, as of 2020, 20% of India's population is suffering from some kind of mental illness. That is 265 million people who are in need of immediate help but are very unlikely to receive it. Yeah, we may have made some progress by acknowledging mental health, but I think it's really important that we start talking about the mental health care infrastructure itself. Or else the next time we have a sensational case of suicide, all we'll be left with are conspiracy theories and Instagram stories promoting self-love, and my god, those need to stop. I hate them, they're so annoying. Those need to stop. That's a show. Thanks for watching.